not continuing messages in the WhatsApp for the same thing. And also, if you feel that there's anything which you want to send us to personally, you can send it to any one of us. Thank you.
All right, let's begin with the committee. Starting with the roll call. Delegates, kindly give me a roll call. Yeah, countries present. All right. Do we have Australia in the Australia?
It's present and voting.
All right. Do we have Finland?
Present.
Delegates, just tell me if you're there in the committee. I'll take the roll call separately. All right. France, are you there in the committee?
Present and voting.
Okay. Germany.
Yes.
Okay. India. Do we have India in the committee?
Present.
Do we have Japan?
Present.
All right. Do we have Netherlands?
And voting.
Do we have Norway?
Present.
Do we have Russian Federation?
Present and voting, sir.
All right, sir. Do we have Spain?
Present and voting.
All right. Do we have Thailand? Do we have Thailand in the committee right now? We don't have Thailand right now in the committee. All right.
No, we don't.
Good. All right. I'll just take the roll call again. Very sorry. Just software did not know. Okay. All right. Australia, present and voting.
Present and voting.
Yeah. Finland,
Present.
France,
Present and voting.
Germany,
Present.
India.
Present.
Noted. Japan,
Present.
present. Netherlands,
Present and voting.
Norway,
Present.
present. Russian Federation, present and
Present and voting, sir.
Noted, sir. Spain,
Present and voting.
noted. All right, let's begin with the committee. I'm looking forward for a motion to begin the committee session. Firstly, just anybody raise a motion to begin the committee session?
Yes, sir. Sir, point of personal privilege.
Yes, delegate.
Sir, so the EB has not yet told us whether we'll be using the raise hand feature or the yes and no
We'd
feature.
obviously
So
be
it's the
raising
raise hand.
the raise hand feature. Yes.
All right, so noted.
Point of parliament inquiry.
Yes, sir.
Sir, which particular procedures are we following? Is it a UN-US or it's UN for MUN?
UN for MUN, sir.
All right, sir. Noted. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, in that case, sir, point of orders will be entertained only for the point of order, the factual inaccuracies as well as the errors by the executive board, or only by the executive board?
So could you repeat that? I'm really sorry, I was getting a call.
Sir, what kind of point of orders are you entertaining with the committee, both on the factual fallacies and on the executive board, or only on the executive board?
Only on the executive board, sir, not on the factual fallacies.
Or it's a point of order on the executive board, sir. According to UN
Yes,
for MUN
sir.
procedures, we can raise a point of order on particularly factual fallacies also, according to the mandate provided to us by UNIC for India and Bhutan.
All right, so you can raise on factual inaccuracies as well then.
So, sir, point of order is in order?
Yes, so the point of order is in order.
Or thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Delegate of Russia. Right. Australia, we're going to use the raise hand feature. Like it's in favor of starting the committee session. Can you raise your hands? All right, let's begin with the committee session then. I'm looking forward to a motion in establishing the GSL. Delegates wishing to raise the motion, can you raise your hands? I'll be recognizing India, followed by Australia, followed by Russia. I'll just take India for that matter. India.
The delegate of India would like to establish the general speakers list.
All right. I get the delegates in favor of the motion. Can you raise your hands? The motion clearly passes. Delegate, what time limit do you set for the general speakers list?
1 minute 90 seconds.
1 minute 90 seconds. Okay,
Sir,
delegate.
point of order in the executive board.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, GSL can never be of 1 minute
exactly
and
that's
90
why
seconds.
that's why I said 1 minute. Like, could we amend that to 120 seconds, if that's okay with you?
Yes.
All right.
So is the point of order in order?
Yes, I the point of order was in order.
Thank you, sir.
All right, ma'am. Are we recognizing speakers of the general speakers list? Like, it's wishing to speak on the general speakers list, kindly raise your hands. I'll be taking India as the first speaker, followed by Russian Federation. I'm really sorry, targets for that. I'll be taking Spain, followed by Australia. I'm very sorry, delegates. My system's very glitchy. Russia, Spain, Germany. I'll be
Sir,
taking
point of
Norway.
inquiry.
Yes, delegate.
Sir, can the delegates yield their time after they're done with the GST speech?
Yes, delegate, you can.
Thank you.
Netherlands, and we have France. All right. After two speakers, I'm going to be looking forward to motions on the floor. That's okay with you guys. Since we already have a short committee and we have way too less delegates, we're gonna be moving. We're gonna take multiple speakers in every GSL and sorry in the GSL and in every moderate box as well. All right, India, you have the floor for the next 120 seconds. All right, this software is excessively useless. Give me a minute, delegates. I'm ready. Sorry. All right. All right. India, you have the floor for the next 120 seconds. You can start.
As Mr. Ban Ki-moon, former Secretary of the United Nations, once said, persons with disabilities have a significant positive impact on the society, and their contributions can be even greater if we remove barriers to their participation. With more than 1 billion persons with disabilities in the world today, this is more important than ever. I unquote. Urbanization is one of the most common phenomena in the 21st century. Out of the total population of 6.25 billion people, 15% are people with disabilities who are predicted to be living in urban complexes. 15% of the world's population lives with a disability today. They face widespread lack of accessibility to built environments, from roads and housing to public buildings and spaces and basic urban services. Such as sanitation and water, health, education, transportation, and buildings. Urbanization has the potential to be a great plan for achieving sustainable and inclusive development for all. Unfortunately, people with disabilities, being one of the most banished social groups, are often deprived of their basic human rights. Strong commitments in concrete terms, including in particular inclusive urban policy, regulatory norms and standards, approach planning and allocation of resources, will help improve the situation for them. The concept of including the voices of the global disability community accepted goal since the deprivation and exclusion faced by persons with disabilities prevents them from enjoying urban services and their basic human rights and affects the development of the committees.
All right, delegate, you have 30 seconds left. What would you like to do with your time?
I would like to yield my to the chair.
All right, thank you so much for the time, delegate. Will you taking the speech of Russian Federation? So you have the floor for the next 120 seconds.
Sir, as the
You may
delegate
start.
of Russian Federation just got the agenda 2 minutes back, sir, can delegate of Russian Federation will be can be shifted towards the end of the list?
Sure, sir, I can do that. We have Spain. Delegate, have the floor for the next 120 seconds. You may start.
A developed
That is
country
Spain.
is not a
All right,
A
unregistered
developed
delegate.
country is not a place where the poor have cars. It is where the rich ride public transportation. This famous quote was stated by Enrique Peñalosa. With this positive note, good morning, my fellow delegates and respected chairperson. With the prior permission of the executive board, the delegate of Spain would like to speak on the given agenda. Spain feels that even with the population of 4 crore 67 lakh 54,778, the Spanish government has taken care of its citizens quite well. Unlike other disability systems in developed economies, the Spanish system allows partially disabled individuals to work while receiving disability benefits. The infant mortality rate and life expectancy number in Spain are excellent. Fewer than 4 infants die per 1,000 live births, and the average Spaniard lives to be 82, whereas the average infant mortality rate in the world is 29 deaths per 1,000 births. The Spanish government chose achieving 17 goals for the future we want as the theme in 2016 to celebrate the International Day of People with Disabilities. The slogan reminds us of the gap that, in spite of the great steps which have been made towards integration and recognition, still exist in creating a more inclusive and equitable world. A society in which people with disabilities will be able to decide about their lives, taking an active part in political processes and decisions that could affect them would be great. Thank you.
All right, I you have roughly about 37 seconds left. What would you like to do with your time?
I'd like to yield my time to questions.
POIs. All right. Are there any POIs on the floor for Spain? I'll be looking at Russia followed by Norway. Russia, what's your POI?
All right. So, ma'am, according to you, you just said that you have different particular commissions and strategies which is developed towards developing the particular sectorial jobs for the people who are inclusion of disabilities. However, according to an Amnesty International report dated March 27th, 2017, article number 10/04, it clearly states that you have mentioned around 42% of seats to be engaged for people with disabilities. However, according to this report, only 7% of these seats have been covered. Whereas what I'm trying to question upon over here is that is there any particular discrimination at this particular point? Because according to your practical image, there is something different, whereas your theoretical image is something different.
I assure you, Delegate, that the Spanish government is looking into this matter very seriously, and we have built many different associations to help the people in need, and we will be continuing to do so.
All
So
right,
please
ma'am.
to follow up.
Granted, sir, granted.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, I guess you did not understand my question. Ma'am, what I'm trying to say is that you have implemented particular policies which are reserved for about 42% of the total majority has been particularly focused upon for people with disabilities. However, only 7% of these seats have been filled up. So there is a particularly different practical image which is shown to the world, whereas you claim that there are about 42% of people who will be engaged in these particular activities, whereas your theoretical image is particularly different, whereas it states,
I'm
and
really
I
sorry,
quote, that
sir, but could you just frame the
of the
question
total
shortly?
population.
Because maybe sorry, diagram of Russia, but could you just frame the question properly? Because I'm seeing the diagram of Spain is having a problem understanding your question. Just frame it properly in
All
like a
right, sir.
short
I will just
question.
shorten up my question. So
Thank you so much,
basically,
sir.
your practical image is something different, and your theoretical image is something different, and these two stories aren't matching. So I need to know which one is true. The practical image, which states that you have 42% seats reserved, and it is actually being implemented, or whereas only 7% of the seats are being implemented, and that's the true statement.
See, I won't say that anything is a lie. Both of them are true. We are working on it, and some seats have been reserved on it, like as of now, but we are working on it to make it more and more successful. I hope that answers your question.
Or
All
thank you
right,
so much.
right. All right, again. Norway. I get your odd diagram of Norway. I get if your audio is not well, audible to us. Diagram of Norway. If you can just type your POI or just send it
Sir,
via
point
chat
of
right
personal
now.
privilege. So
Yes,
considering
Australia.
that it is being typed in the chat box, will you be entertaining another questions or considering it is important for the flow of the debate of the committee?
Sure, ma'am, I'll consider them. All
Uh,
right,
so,
moving on to
uh, sir, could I
sure.
please ask the question?
Sure, Australia, you have the floor. You can ask your POI.
All right, delegate. So your country, as it has clearly stated, that interconnectivity among various governments at various levels will be ensured, and therefore it ratified the Commonwealth, state, territory, local policies to develop and deliver programs and fund infrastructure. However, it has clearly been proved by various reports made by the government itself that these policies are firstly not working. Interconnectivity programs are failing, and disability organizations in particular, which were essential to promoting the rights of people for disability, they have failed in the country. However, the government has taken no major step and has simply consented to it. The government has also in fact stated that these policies have failed, rather it has taken no steps after which. Delegate, if you could please explain the country's government's idea to accept its own failure and yet not take any action to improve it, and considering that even the Commonwealth, state, territory, local development policies have completely failed.
That's a very nice question, delegate. I'd like to say that failure is a part of life and everybody fails, but we are working on it, what we've not been able to do for the past years. And Spain has also made many organizations to help the people in need. So I guess that answers your question.
So plea to follow up.
Granted.
All right, delegate. So as you clearly stated that failure is a part of life. Now, considering that your country has not only failed with the Commonwealth, state, territory, local developmental policies and in developing its own disability organizations, rather it has the equal employment opportunity legislation, which it did not, even though it ratified and spoke about it in the global summits. However, yet it did not take any actions. It stated that it would, however, it did not. The Public Service Act and the state territory legislation, including the Capital Territory and the Victorian Charter on Human Rights, even though it did ratify all these conventions, it failed to take any action. Is your government continuously going to keep taking failure as simply a part of life, or will it even take steps to eradicate this failure and move on to some success?
See, we have failed once, but we'll not always fail. We are working on it. And as if you may know, in 2007, Spain has also ratified the United Nations Convention on the Right of Person with Disability, which is the CRPD. So I guess we are not accepting the fact that we've failed and we are working on it. So you won't get to see the same thing again and again.
Thank you.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to motions on the floor. Are there any motions on the floor? I'll take Finland, followed by Australia.
Yeah.
Finland?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Kusha Saket, and I'll be representing Finland in the ECOSOC. So, Finland's advocates mainstreaming of the development policy program.
Delegate, I said I'm looking forward to. Are there any motions on the floor? Do you want to raise a motion?
No.
So, delegate of Russian Federation.
Yes, sir.
So the delegate of Russian Federation would like to suspend the formal debate and move it to an unmoderated.
So, point of order on the executive board, sir. As per UN USA procedures, the delegates who've been recognized after after the delegate of Finland, they did not get a chance to speak, and the procedure clearly specifies that first they need to have a chance to speak. They must speak their point, and only then can further speakers be taken only by the executive board asking for further points.
The point of order on the delegate of Australia.
Granted.
Sir, as the delegate of Australia quoted that we are following UNUSA procedures, unquote, whereas according to the chairperson, that means, sir, according to you, we were following UN for UN rules of procedure.
All right. So, point of order on the delegate. Point of order on the delegate of Russian Federation.
Granted.
All right.
Point of order on the executive board. Sir, point on point is not allowed.
So point of order on the delegate of Russia, considering that it is not a point on a point, rather a comment on a point, sir. So the delegate, so point of order.
Denied. That is not denied.
So point of order on executive board. Sir, as it was clearly stated by the executive board that we have a UN and USA procedures, sir. However, sir,
It is said that it's a UN for MN. I
sir,
said UN for MN.
exactly, sir. Sir,
Ma'am,
considering
yeah.
sir, considering that both of them are derivatives of the single, and it was earlier followed was UNA USA for MUN. Now it has been, now both are equally acceptable. Sir, is it all right if we continue to call the UNA for UNA for MUN the same as UNA USA?
No,
Sir,
ma'am.
it's a point of order, sir. Sir, considering, sir, both of them are the same, they're the derivatives, and one is no longer in use.
Sir, I would just like to add a statement particular to it, that ma'am, I don't know you are aware or not, but UNA USA and UN for MN are tilted two separate particular entities, whereas UN for MN procedures are particularly just given to us by UNIC for India and Bhutan particularly, straight away by the National Information Officer of India, that is Mr. Rajiv Chandran, sir, who heads UNIC in India particularly. UNA USA set of rules and procedures are still considered as a
Point of order on the executive board. So considering that you did not allow points on points, sir.
Did I allow the point of order, ma'am?
All right, sir.
Did I allow the point of order?
All right.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The point of order is denied. All right. Are there any points on the floor?
Sir, you did not rule upon, sir. Are we calling UN for MUN procedures? We are following UNA US, or we are, sir,
we are calling it UN for
MUN.
UNA
for MUN.
That is, oh my God. Delegate of Russia. You're calling it UN for MUN. You're following UN for MUN. You've been following in all the online conferences. You know that very clearly. I've seen your conferences. I've sat in your conferences, sir. Can you go on with the committee? Since we already have a first timer and he is very confused, as you can see his video, so just don't confuse delegates more.
Sir, I'm a
right. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I very much know how much a first timer you are, sir. All right. Are there any points on the floor?
So, delegate of Russia was recognized.
So the delegate of Australia was recognized before that, sir. I had to raise a motion, sir.
Australia followed by Russia. Australia followed by Russia. Delegates don't.
All right. Delegates, so the delegate of Australia would like to raise a motion to suspend formal debate and move into a moderated caucus for a total time of 20 minutes and individual speakers time of 60 seconds on the topic, discussing the root causes of the agenda. Yeah, that's it.
All right, ma'am. Russia.
So the delegate of Russian Federation would like to suspend the formal debate and move into an unmoderated caucus for 7.5 minutes.
All right. 7.5 minutes unmod. We'll be voting on the unmoderated caucus first. Delegates of the unmoderated caucus for 7.5 minutes. Kindly raise your hands. Right then, the motion clearly fails. Delegates in favor of the moderate caucus, kindly raise your hands. Moderate caucus for 2060 on the discussion of the root causes for the agenda. This motion clearly passes. Now we're in a moderate caucus with total time 20 minutes, each time 60 seconds. Australia, would you be the first speaker?
Yes, sir.
Right, Australia. I will recognize the speakers for this moderate caucus right now. Just give me a minute. I need to open this in a separate tab. I do not know. All right. Australia followed by Japan, followed by India, followed by Russian Federation, followed by Germany, Spain, Finland, France. I think that's all. Yeah. I will take more speakers after I exhausted this list. All right. Australia, you have the floor for the Yes, sir.
Sir, has Russian Federation been recognized?
Yes, sir, you have been recognized, sir, as the fourth speaker. Thank you so much. All right, Australia, the floor for the next 60 seconds. Here is that.
Sir, point of personal privilege.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, is it possible for the executive board to please share the screen along with the timer so that the delegates are aware of the time?
Just give me a minute, ma'am. I will start the timer. Ma'am. Right, ma'am, you may start.
All right, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
All right, sir. Delegates. Now, international awareness of the causes and the consequences of disability is growing. Donors and governments are increasingly making funds available to target the mobility needs of disabled travelers as well around the globe. Yet, no developed body of knowledge exists to guide the development and implementation of accessibility solutions in developing countries, and they tend to pursue and implement measures that may not be appropriate or suited to the country itself. Now, furthermore, the current lack of environmental accessibility faced by people with disabilities, in particularly many cities of the world, be it developing or developed, is really increasing. Furthermore, it presents another challenge, that is a strategic opportunity to promote accessibility in the inclusive urban agenda. And as the international community prepares for the third conference on the housing of sustainability development, which is the Habitat 3, and which will actually take place in Ecuador. Now we really want to stress upon the fact that we need international collaboration to work together, and Australia is open to providing funds, the allocation of which will be done by the FATF specific to the country of Australia. Thank you.
All right, ma'am, thank you so much. Japan, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start. Delegate of Japan. Delegate of Japan. Do we have delegate of Japan? All right. Since you're in Japan, I'll move Japan to the last speaker, if that's fine with the committee. India, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start. India.
Am I audible?
Yes, delegate, you're audible.
Disability is increasing on the development. It's the role in development needs to be fully understood and the issues addressed as a core dimension of our collective efforts. Another essential dimension is to make education programs accessible for personal workings in this field. Its developing member countries, United Nations agencies, and local and international non-government organizations (NGOs), the education program needs to be focused specially on increasing the capacity of the countries and the organizations to include the needs of people with disabilities in all aspects of development, policy, and programs. They need to demonstrate how to apply a strategic and results-based approach to reducing poverty among disabilities and their family in urban areas and as well in rural areas.
All right, ma'am, we have 10 seconds left. We'll move on to the next speaker. That is Russia. You may start.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. All right, delegates. So first of all, we need to focus and deliver upon what exactly the agenda is about: inclusion of people with disabilities in urban areas. It is completely true that most of the countries have particular set of but they fail to deliver particular motives of the same. I would like to quote a few of the countries and the dysfunctioning of their policies and local bodies. Starting with Spain. Spain violated the right to inclusive education of a child with disabilities, and independent UN Human Rights Committee has found calling out the country to end any education segregation of students with disabilities in both special education and mainstream schools, according to the news.un.org dated 21 September 2020. Coming to Australia, according to the delivery of outcomes under the National Disability Strategy 2010 to 2020 to build inclusive and accessibility community submission 42 attachment 1, all Australians should enjoy participation in ordinary life regardless of differing levels of ability. However, lack of access to services and facilities, social exclusion, isolation are pressing issues of the same. At last, the delegate would like to quickly wrap up and say that, particularly according to this particular strategy, delegate of the particularly Australian government is pertaining to give a different practical theory, whereas a different theoretical theory, and Australia being Australia, nothing but a disappointment in this committee and nothing else. Thank you.
All right,
Point
sir.
of
That was
personal privilege.
yes, ma'am.
So could the delegate please repeat all the points about Australia?
So could you repeat all the points you said regarding the delegate of Australia or the Australian government in particular?
All right, sir. Sure, sir. So, ma'am, according to, yeah, I'm just coming to it. All right, ma'am. Ma'am, according to the deliveries of outcomes under the National Disability Strategy 2010-2020 to build inclusive and accessible communities, Submission 42, Attachment 1. All Australians should enjoy participation in ordinary life regardless of differing levels of ability. However, lack of access to services and facilities, social exclusion and isolation are pressing the same issues. And according to the Disability Discrimination Act 1992, DDA makes it legal to discriminate against a person because of disability. So the delegate over here would like to just express the same, that you particularly proclaim of a different practical image and a different theoretical image in front of people, and Australia being Australia, nothing but a disappointment in this committee.
All right, sir. First, sir, point of order. Second, sir, right to reply.
Third, point of order on the executive board, it's right of reply.
All right, sir. Granted and
So,
granted.
point of order. All
Granted.
right, sir. So the point of order. So the entire legislation and the law that was quoted, obviously, sir, considering it was a extremely long quote, I cannot say it, but the entire point about the national legislation and law, which was interpreted by the delegate of Russian Federation, stands incorrect. Secondly, right to reply. So the
Point of
delegate's
order.
personal feelings.
I did grant both of them, sir. If that's
Sir,
what your
it
point
is
of
right
order.
of reply, not right to reply.
All right, sir. All right, ma'am. Could you rephrase your right?
Sir, both are acceptable, sir.
I do know
In
that, but
an
if sir has a problem, we can adjust, right? All right.
All right,
Could you
sir. So
rephrase your point?
adjusting to your whims, we say that the a right of reply. The delegates' personal feelings and sentiments have been hurt by the court that said, "Court, Australia is nothing but a disappointment in the committee." Unquote. Considering I have the right to reply, Australia would like to clarify that both its legislations, first, that was incorrectly quoted by the delegate of Russia. The act in fact emphasizes that people with disabilities should be given support, and they should not be discriminated against, and the act was completely misjudged by the country of Russia. Secondly, Australia believes in international collaboration and working together with every nation, and has been suggested by the delegate of Australia multiple times in the committee to work together unanimously. Secondly, I would like to emphasize on the fact that um, so just a minute, the vice chair said, okay, fine. Would like to emphasize on the fact that we believe in international collaboration, and we are nothing more than a delight in the committee and not a disappointment. So thank you.
All right, ma'am. We move on to the next speaker, that is Germany. You have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
Thank
Delegation
you,
of Germany.
Executive Board, for the
Right.
recognition. It is a well-known fact that disabled people are excluded, and the reasons are simply saddening. Physically challenged individuals are excluded and looked down upon by those who are not, simply because of how they look. For them, being considered as less is more than normal. The stigma that the society believes in considers disabled people as less productive, and this is the major reason as to why business deny them positions. Additionally, intellectually disabled people are thought of as psychologically crazy, and they're not assisted, but they're looked down upon. Others also might feel that interacting with them makes them as low as the disabled. It is outrageous to examine that the society thinks, and the delegate of Germany concludes by saying that it is crucial that we change the mindset of the society, because this is a mindset which is just thrown in with claims, and there is no evidence backing that claim, and it is simply driving the development of their country into a trench. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We move on to the delegate of Spain. Delegate, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start.
Thank you, EB, for the recognition. It is not our disabilities, it's our abilities that count. This famous quote was spoken by Chris Burke. To begin with, 8.5% of the Spanish population have a disability. Only 35% of people with disabilities in Spain are employed, and reasons for this include low work motivation, widespread stigma concerning the work ability of people with disability, and the ineffectiveness of employment regulations and mainly support. One of the key issues of why the disabled are excluded from the urban areas in Spain is that the term has been or would be treated is not included in the Spanish definitions of direct discrimination. It is very sad to see this fact that they are discriminated, but the Spanish government is trying its level best to stop these discriminations. Thank you.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Moving on,
Audible?
Director Finn. Yes, sir.
Sir, were the following point of orders in order from the delegate of Australia and from the delegate of Russian Federation?
So the point, yes, sir. They were in order.
All right, sir. Sir, whereas the point of order on the executive, whereas my lines were misquoted in the particular statement which were made by the delegate of Australia, whereas particularly referring to the statements where I told that Australia being Australia, nothing but a disappointment, it was misquoted. Apart from that, sir, all the laws in their particular country are open to as per the execution, and it varies from a particular case to case. Therefore, it says that it is open to interpretation according to the constitution of Australian government.
All right, sir. Noted.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do I get an opportunity to please clarify considering what was quoted by the delegate of Russia
Yes,
on the
ma'am. You
delegate
may
was?
clarify. Yes, ma'am. You may
All
clarify.
right. Now, delegate, since you say that different cases and different, it all depends on the interpretation. The delegate of Australia would like to clarify more about the judicial system of Australia. Now, all laws in every particular country, be it one of the most power blocks of the world, we talk about the United States of America. We talk about your own country, the Russian Federation. We all are aware that certain powers rest in the hands of the judiciary to take some measures, to have the final say. Obviously, they are the judiciary. There are certain organs of the government in every country. Mostly it depends whether it's cameral, bicameral, unicameral. Secondly, would like to clarify that no, in Australia does not depend entirely on the interpretation of the personal interpretation given by the judiciary of the judge. Rather, it depends on the judiciary as a system as a whole. Now the major thing that's important to note for this committee is the fact how the laws are implemented in reality. Now, the implementation is not looked after by the judiciary at all. It is looked after by the day-to-day governments, which are flourishing. People in our country, they are benefiting, whether be it people of disability or people who are intellectually disabled, people who might be facing physical problems. They all are given, they're uplifted, and through the laws, and it is moreover the slight ability for the judiciary to interpret some laws on their own side is more so that they can benefit the citizens, and any other organ of the government cannot take unfair undue advantage of the same, and therefore Australia rests.
The point
All
of,
right.
sir, can I clarify?
No, denied. I'm really sorry. You have to move on to the moderate officer. Director Finland, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
Thank you, EP, for recognizing Finland. Hello, everyone. I'm the delegate of Finland, and I would like to say that almost all of the delegates who have said of the House who have said are true about the disabilities of the world. People are treated differently due to their disability, and they can do a lot better than that. Take an example of Stephen Hawking, as he was remarked as the great uh, scientist of humankind. So Finland actually has advocated a mainstreaming of the development policy programs, cross-cutting themes in both the normative and operational work of the UN. The themes include the rights of women and girls and the improvement of their status, as well as strengthening gender equality and social equality. But and also it has also opened to disabled people with constructing many institutions. It has given opportunity to many of them, and as of 2017, 80% of the employers have accepted them. So Finland's government has done an excellent job. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much. Moving on to France. Director, the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start.
Thank you
Go
for
ahead.
recognizing me. First of all, I like to start with that the main root cause of not including or the lack of accessibility to the disabled is just because people look at them differently. But even if they are mentally or physically disabled, it does not mean that we cut them out or boycott them just because they cannot work properly or they cannot function properly. There are a lot of examples which have proved that this is not true. So the French government has taken out a lot of programs in order to overcome this. Plus, why we are doing is just because the legislative and the regularity framework governing disability is now not well established, but it is also more complex for all that and too often leads to operation in silos. The government is working hard to achieve more cross functional coordination and to simplify the situation as much as possible by coming up with solutions based on the individual needs and on the expertise of disabled people themselves, as well as their close supportive circle. These efforts will be
All right, so
undertaken.
you've exhausted your time. So I'd like, if you want to send your next point as a substantial shade, you can WhatsApp it to me, or you can say it in the next speech or whatever.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Do we have the delegate of Japan? Delegation of Japan, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds since you missed out your chance back then. Japan, are you there in the committee? All right,
Yes, sir.
Japan, you may start.
Yes. Reasons for disability. Um, uh,
Delegate, you want to restart?
yes, sir.
All right.
Reasons for disability discriminations are social and cultural barriers. These happen in areas where there is rich cultural heritage, such as the case in Japan. There is also lack of accommodation in which there are not enough features for the disabled persons, such as ramps for people in wheelchairs, etc. Ellen Rubin has said in an article which in Impressions of Japan from a Disability Perspective of View, said that we are separate but equal. Japan's basic plan related to people with disabilities keeps the concept of rehabilitation and normalization from the long-term program set in 1993. Japan would not say that Japan would not say that there is no discrimination, but but the government has worked hard to implement programs such as so that the disabled people in Japan have equal rights. And
All right, so
yours
thank you
is
so much. Delegate, you have exhausted your time. We'll be taking more speakers to the moderate caucus since we have a 20-minute moderate caucus and a short committee. I'll be recognizing more speakers. Delegates wishing to speak in the moderate caucus again, can you raise your hands? I'll be recognizing Finland, followed by Russia, followed by Japan, uh, followed by Australia, followed by India. That's five speakers. Followed by Netherlands, followed by France.
So, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is there any procedure of revoking a particular country's voting rights due to the presence in an ongoing case in the UN itself?
Pardon, sir. Could you say that again?
Alright, sir. Sir, is there any procedure of sir revoking a particular country's voting rights?
So I would not allow that since it's a short committee and we have first timers. We would only confuse the delegates who are doing the MA for the first time. So I would not allow that. I'm very sorry. Otherwise, if this was a security council or say for example if we had experienced delegates, I would completely allow that. But right now I cannot.
Sure, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Finland, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You can start, delegate.
okay. Thank you, EB, for recognizing me. So, as I've discussed earlier, even Finland has also done the fight against HIV/AIDS and regarding HIV and AIDS as a health-related and social development issue. Finland also contributes actively to the UN Economic and Social Council, short form ECOSOC, and its committees, and to implementation of the actions agreed in UN conferences. Within the framework of the UN, the focus is on broad-based efforts to promote sustainable development. Finland strives in the UN to intensify the development dimension and the effectiveness of multilateral aid. Finland has gained visibility as a country dedicated to promotion of the status of women. The adoption of a competitive approach in the sector of gender and reproductive health has been extremely important, and efforts will be continued in various fora to promote the attainment of the MDGs. Finland also highlights the importance of educational as an essential prerequisite for sustainable development and the strengthening of comprehensive security. Finland
All right,
emphasizes
sir.
the
Already you've exhausted your time. You may speak the rest in the next speech, or you may send it to me via chat. All
I
right.
would
Thank
like
you so
to,
much,
yeah,
Finland.
thank you.
All right. Rasha, you for the next 60 seconds. You can start delegate.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for the recognition. Now, sir, particularly answering ma'am of where ma'am particularly the Australian delegate mentioned that they follow all the judicial practices in a well-functioned manner. I would like to bring this to the committee's notice that Australia has to appear before the UN Rights Council in January. Like, what were exactly? The Australian government has failed to meet important commitments to protect the rights of refugees, asylum seekers, and indigenous people, according to the Human Rights Watch, said that in a submission to the United Nations Human Rights Council that Australia's Universal Periodic Review has been rescheduled from November 2020 to January 25th, 2021 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, over here, where ma'am was so particular and so confident about particularly mentioning that our country follows the best judicial practices, there is another article mentioned in it which says that the Australian government hasn't always followed throughout on its pledges to the UN Human Rights Council. When ECOSOC being a body of a UN and Australia not following another mandate of a particular UN body, at last with this, the delegate would just like to wish delegate of Australia good luck because luck is just for losers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you
Good
so
point
much,
of
sir, for
personal
an.
privilege.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
could the delegate just repeat the last line?
All right.
Could you just repeat the last
Last
line?
line, according about the particular country or the good luck one.
No, no, about the luck.
All
Yes.
right, ma'am. At last, the delegate for Russia would like to just wish good luck to the delegate of Australia because luck is just for losers.
So, right of reply.
I would completely grant that, ma'am.
As it was quoted by the delegate of the Russian Federation, I would like to wish good luck to the delegate of Australia. Luck is just for losers, unquote. The delegate, this is a United Nations platform. How many ever accusations towards the unproven accusations and allegations that are yet to be proven, even in front of the United Nations, yet to be given they have to be ruled upon right now. And secondly, the fact that a nation which is a part of the United Nations, which actively promotes is lobbying like this, and talking to specific country delegates in a matter and calling a country as a loser in itself. The delegate believes it's a matter of shame, and recommends that such words are not used at an international platform, and decorum is strictly maintained. Thank you.
The right of reply.
I would deny that Russian Federation, and I would like you to please.
Point of order on the executive board. Sir, shall I quote? So, sir, can I quote?
No, sir, you cannot, sir.
Sir,
I
point
did
of
not.
order on the executive board. Sir, you cannot deny the fact because we are not in a UNA USA proceedings. You have to accept it.
All right, sir, accepted.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I won't be taking much of a time, but as ma'am quoted, as the delegate of Australia quoted, that there are a few things which haven't even proven. But particularly, I'm referring to the particular article which says that the Australian government hasn't always followed through on its pledges to the UN Human Rights Council, said Elaine Pearson, the Australian director of the UN review body, said that. So, sir, in this case, I would just like to say that particularly this is something which is not being fragmented, and it does not have to be proved because it is directly coming from the top authoritarian of the your top authoritarian of the UN of your particular country itself. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much for
Sir,
the point. I would like you to not comment on anybody in the committee, since I know you as a delegate, and since I've seen you as an even member, and I've sat in a committee with you. I would like you to be a little more kinder to your fellow delegates. Thank you so much, sir.
So,
Sure.
point of personal privilege.
Yes, Australia.
So whatever was quoted by the delegate of Russian Federation in the last what he just spoke. So how does that qualify as a point of order?
I think he said that he was correcting a factual fallacy, since you said that points have not been proven, and he was
So,
proving that there is a
however, what
reliable
was
source.
quoted by me, a few matters is a completely ambiguous statement which does not qualify to be ruled upon as something that was a factual inaccuracy, because as stated by the delegate of Russian Federation, only a single article is present, however the rest are rare, yet to be ruled upon and are not yet proven. Therefore, the usage of the now I quote, a few matters have not been ruled upon or proven yet, unquote, is completely viable, sir. So what is the point ruling of the point of order?
The point of order would not be marked upon. That's what you're
Thank
asking
you.
about. Thanks so much. All right, moving on to the next speaker. That is the delegate of Japan. Japan, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You can start speaking, delegate.
Thank you for the
Delegate.
recognition. Disabilities in Japan have been present for a long time, and the government agrees that the actions taken on this topic are somewhat late. Citizens still consider that they do not have some rights, and the Japanese government agrees and works to add more rules so that the citizens can have the rights. In Ellen Rubin's report, it is stated that Japan's rights are not completely democratic, and Japan's heritage and we the and it and the government agrees, but Japan also says that its heritage has had a tough time to comply um, due to its due to its due to its it has had a tough time to comply due to its regulations in itself, but Japan's government hopes it can work and will try to better the situation.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. The next speaker being Australia, the floor for the next 60 seconds. Australian delegate, you can start speaking now.
So just a minute.
Sure, ma'am.
All
Sure.
right, delegates. So what?
Yeah, go on. Go on. I'm really sorry. Go on. Go on.
Okay. All right, delegates. Now we've established what are the causes are. I would like to emphasize that involvement of people with disability and the views of people who have the disability is central to designing, functioning, building, delivery, and evaluation of policies and programs across the world. Secondly, community engagement, that is the whole of a community, to change its effort is required to remove barriers and support those people who have faced discrimination due to their disabilities. Thirdly, universal approach, that is products, services, environments, and communities that are accessible to everyone around the globe are also very important. Lastly, I would like to emphasize on the fact that how national legislations must not take parts out of international legislations to implement them in their own countries. Rather, national legislation should be framed according to the historical context in which a country has formed, a historical context in which what the socio-political situation, and therefore upliftment should be provided to all the citizens of the country. Now, person-centered programs and policies must be paid attention to, and they must be milestones which a country must reach. Lastly, I would like to
Ma'am,
emphasize
ma'am,
that
ma'am, you've elapsed your
interconnected.
time. Could you just
All right.
speak? Yeah, last
Sure,
please.
sure.
I did
That's all.
not.
That's all.
Okay.
Thank you. Sir, I couldn't see the
Delegate,
timer, so that was the
yeah,
issue.
it's okay. It's on the screen. India, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate. India, delegation
Yes.
of India.
Nearly 25% people living in cities worldwide experience barriers on account of age or disability. In India, this is especially important when nearly 400 million people live in cities or urban areas. This number is estimated to reach 875 million. They experience low rates of health, education, and employment compared to their non disabled peers. Nowadays, persons with a form of disability are one exposed to most sectors. They are still treated differently and still face discrimination in all aspects of their life, including access to urban development, since there are many influences and stereotypes against them. For the approximately 1 billion peers with disabilities around the globe, town cities often present an overabundance of physical environment, technical, and social barriers which confine the social group, as those barriers do not facilitate their rights, making them unable to have an access on physical and virtual infrastructure, facilities, and public services.
All right, ma'am, that's it. Thank you so much. Moving on, you have the delegate of Netherlands. You have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
Thank you, Executive Board, for the recognition. The delegate of Netherlands believes that the main root cause of disability exclusion is the mindset of the people. People believe that disabled people are the lowest form of human, whereas we believe that they are as able as others. Some other main causes of disability exclusion from society include low incomes, unemployment, lack of education, limited access to transport and health, and discrimination. These causes still exist mostly because of the mindset of the people, as the delegate mentioned before. Thank you.
All right, delegate, you have taken half of your time. Delegate of France, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
Thank you for the recognition. As earlier mentioned, disability affects 12 million French citizens. To improve the living conditions and resources available to our disabled fellow citizens, the government is now rolling out comprehensive interministerial policy, which from 2018 will lead to specific ministerial actions plans being set up. Now we have a few headlines: accessing rights more easily, which includes enhancing the digital accessibility of public services and improving the accessibility of elections and digitize elections. Plus, receive guidance and support throughout education from early years childcare right up to universal level, then followed by accessing the job market and working like everyone else. Now here, what the government is trying to do is reduce the gap between the unemployment rate among being disabled people and that among non-disabled people, then followed by playing an active part in the community, getting around the accessing recreational sports and cultural activities. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much. I'll be taking three more speakers for the moderate caucus. Delegates wishing to speak in the moderate caucus, kindly raise your hands. Australia. Delegates wishing to speak in the moderate caucus, kindly raise your hands. All right, then after us, all right. Finland. Japan. All right. All right, Shetty, you have the floor for the 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
All right. Delegates, I would like to emphasize on the six outcomes of the Australian strategy and how they're important for every country. So the first outcome would be the inclusive and accessible, making it all accessible to all the communities, not only in Australia but around the world. Secondly, rights protection and justice and legislation. Third, economic security. Fourth, personal and community support. Fifth, learning and skills, and sixth, health and well-being. Implementing this Australian strategy along with the assistance of governments, non-governmental and governmental factors is extremely important. The United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities must be ratified by countries all around the world. The Disability and the Discrimination Act of 1992 in Australia, which was obviously the Commonwealth Act, and the related disability standards really helps in implementing policies and working with the people at the grassroots level. Secondly, the Equal Employment Opportunity legislation and the state territory legislation, including the Australian Capital Territory and the Victorian Charter of Human Rights and the Public Service Acts on the country of Australia. Australia has continuously been working and benefiting all the countries around the world and working at the grassroots level. Thank you.
All right, now, thank you so much. We have delegate of Finland, followed by delegate of Japan. Finland, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
Thank you for recognizing me. As from where I've left off, Finland also highlights the importance of education as an essential prerequisite for sustainable development and strengthening of comprehensive security. Finland emphasizes the critical importance for UN organizations and other actors to agree on a clear distribution of tasks and mutual coordination based on complementarity and coherence of activities in order to enhance efficiency both at the levels of the headquarters and in individual countries. Furthering the principle of one UN at the country level is part of the UN reform. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Japan, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. You may start, delegate.
Okay. Thank you for the recognition. And according to a report in 1999, the total population of Japan is 126 million, and the handicapped population is 7,510,000. Physically handicapped people are 2,933,000. Visually handicapped are 305,000. People with limb handicaps are 1,657,000. Internal organ handicapped people are 621,000, and multiple handicapped people are 179,000. So, according to that report, Japan's disability population is high, and the Japan motion in 1993 and 2006 have worked upon this. Japan is taking steps, and our government has noted before and has noted before that um, there have been many irregularities in their steps.
All right, so thank you so
As
much. Delegate, that's your time. We have elapsed this moderate caucus, very fruitful and a very fruitful moderate caucus. All right, we move to the general speakers list now. Australia, for the next 120 seconds. You may start, Australia.
Sir, just a moment. Sir, I'm just facing a small technical issue. My laptop, my word has got stuck. Is it fine if you could give me just 1 minute to, like, a few seconds?
Yeah,
It just
sure, ma'am.
opened,
Sure,
sir.
sure, 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 sure.
so,
So I
point of
don't know why, but
inquiry.
it's giving an issue.
Yes, delegate.
Sir, are we going to continue with the GSL right now?
Delegate, a point of in. All right, yeah, we continue with the GSL right now, delegate. It's Australia followed by Germany. Then we're looking forward to motions. I'm looking
Okay,
forward
sir.
to a motion for non-mod, and after that we'll be bringing for lunch at 3 p.m.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, delegate.
Could the EB just type the 1 second? Sorry. Yeah. Could the EB just type the order of the GSL and the moderated caucuses so that it's easier for the delegates to see where they are?
Sure, ma'am. I'll open up a document and I'll type it right now.
All right, sir, the issue is fine. It's ordered. I was able
All
to open
right,
it.
ma'am. Could you just give me a minute? My screen is very
Yes.
clustered. Yeah, ma'am. You can start now.
All right, delegates, so it's important to note that inclusion as a goal itself is rapidly emerging and is a major focus of global and national platforms. Financial markets and institutions exist to overcome the effects of information asymmetries around the world and to help people overcome the physical challenge of disability. Financial infrastructure here is important to note because without the finance and the money behind it, how will we build physical infrastructures in themselves? Key elements of financial infrastructure such as credit information systems and enforcement of collateral and functioning payment, remittance, security settlements are vital to facilitating a greater finance, improving transparency and governance, and safeguarding financial stability of the people with disabilities. Understanding that most efficient economies around the world, even they face some technological, some contractual information issues, and they have some certain limitations. Collateral registries and secure transaction systems represent a key in building a block of financial structures. Furthermore, the need for hawala transactions and transaction taking place in the informal sector need to be reduced considerably, so that financial support can be diverted and more policies can be framed, taking all the money from the informal sector and trying to deploy it into the formal sector and the formal banking system. A future relationship paper between Australia, Southeast countries, the European Union, similar to the Chequers plan, that was the comprehensive economic and trade agreement between the European and Australian countries and the countries of the Southeast Asia, is extremely vital. Lastly, institutional cooperation, movement of people, movement of goods across the borders, friendly nations should be done in accordance with the mutual recognition scheme in mind for all trade of all commodities as well as for people. Lastly, Australia would like to decide and launch funds and take measures to contribute to enhancing the reform of the global physical and financial infrastructure. Thank you.
All right, ma'am. That was an amazing GSL.
Point of
Germany, you have the floor for
information.
next point of.
Information.
Like it POIs are raised when you have a question for a delegate. Do you have a
Yes.
point of Delegate, the delegate did not have any time for a POI. So
Okay.
you cannot have a POI. If you have a question for the student delegate, you can send it via chat in the WhatsApp group via EB, or you can send it to the delegate directly. That's your choice.
Thank
All
you.
right, delegation of Germany, up to the next 120 seconds. You may start.
The delegate of the Federal Republic of Germany thanks the Executive Board for the recognition. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced, as quoted by James Baldwin. Considering their zeal for perfection, Germans for sure do not see setbacks in their lives, even with the motor deficits. Inclusion is a crucial aspect of life in Germany. There is a great deal of support available to disabled people in Germany, from general counseling to specific institutions such as advice centers, early support centers for children, integrated kindergartens, special schools, special professional schools, for instance, for deaf pupils, apprenticeships for visually impaired and deaf people, employment integration support, care and accommodation grants for disabled people, workshops for disabled people, and transport services. The federal government is not only confined to treating the disabled with empathy, but is also obliged to provide installations such as barrier free designs and constructions of public spaces, buildings, and streets. Furthermore, it also strives to provide a barrier free communication system for them, especially in the field of administrative internet sites, official forms, and notifications. The Federal Republic of Germany believes that we should be working towards equity and not equality. Although both promote fairness, equality here achieves this by treating everyone the same regardless of their needs, while equity achieves this by helping people dependent on their needs so that they can develop at the same rate as the majority. Germany looks forward to incorporating any suggestions that any other country might have, like we have been doing, taking criticism in our stride to improve. Thank you so much.
All right, delegate, have 16 seconds left. What would you like to do with your time?
The delegate would like to yield her time to the POI.
All right, are there any POIs for the delegate of Germany? Delegates, all right, I'll take Australia.
All right. So am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're very much audible.
All right. Delegate of Germany, I would like to question how the strategy that was adopted by the Germans, that was and it was also quoted by one of the top German ministers, that it seeks to have a more cohesive and a whole of government approach. In Germany, we have different levels of the government, and they have constantly they've not been constantly in touch with each other. That is the steps taken by, for example, the state government. They can be overruled by the national government without a question. I would like to question how would states develop their own autonomy, considering that the national government can easily overrule all legislations, and what comes under the list in particular, that is in ruling upon statements such as that given by maybe matters of disability, or maybe matters of financial inclusion, for example, they can easily be overruled by the national government. So how does Germany have a more cohesive approach, as it was already stated by your by top members of your country?
Okay, delegate. So if the national let's not forget that the national government is a government of a country. It is ruling an entire country, right? And if if the national government can overrule any decision by the state government, it is for the betterment and development. If the national government feels that the decision made by the state government isn't appropriate.
All right, delegate, thank you so much for the answer. Delegate, who did you quote in the beginning of your speech, if you don't mind me asking?
James Baldwin.
All right, ma'am, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to, are there any points on the floor? Sarah, do you have a point?
Sorry, sir, the technical issue.
Yeah, all
Sorry.
right. Are there any points on the floor? Can you raise your hands if you have a point? Are there any motions on the floor? Finland followed by Australia, followed by Netherlands.
Thank you for recognizing me. So to understand this topic a bit better, let's just take an example.
Delegate, again, I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to are there any motions on the floor? Do you want to raise a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I could speak. I'm sorry.
No target. Kindly listen. All right, Australia.
So am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're very much audible.
All right. So the delegate of Australia would like to suspend formal debate and move into a moderated caucus on the topic effects of the pertaining agenda.
Ma'am, you kindly state the total time in each speaker's time.
Sorry, sir. A total time of 20 minutes and each speaker's time 60 seconds.
We cannot have a 20-minute moderate caucus since you only have 8 minutes till the break.
All right.
Uh,
So could I please modify the time?
sure, ma'am.
So I would like to have an 8-minute moderated caucus with the individual speaker time of 60 seconds. So I know it's
860.
not divisible, but if
Ma'am,
on the
it's in
discretion of the
860. I
executive
can take
board.
8 speakers. It's completely fine.
All right. So thank you.
All right. Then we had, I think, Japan as a motion. All right,
No,
Japan
sir. The delegate of Japan
did
raised their
not want
hand
to raise a
once.
motion. All right. Netherlands followed by India.
So the delegate of Netherlands would request the chair to suspend formal debate and move into an unmoderated caucus for total time 8 minutes.
All right, ma'am. 8 minute unmod. 8 minute mod. Um, Delegate of India. Do you have a motion?
I had the same motion as the delegate
All
of
right,
Netherlands.
ma'am. Thank you so much. Since we have two delegates in favor of the 8 minute unmoderated caucus, can you raise your hands? Delegates in favor of the 8 minute unmoderated caucus, kindly raise your hands. This motion clearly passes with an unmoderated caucus for the next 8 minutes. You can start now, delegates.
All right, delegates. So since we're in unmoderated caucus right now, I would just like to ask: is anybody facing any issues? And I know that there are a lot of first timers. So if we could first go over the issues and then discuss how we want to go ahead in the committee.
Yeah, I just have one issue that I'm having difficulties understanding that if somebody is in their GSL speech and if I want to ask them a question, how can I ask them a question?
All right. So, delegate, if you have like a POI to a GSL speech, and the person, if they do not exhaust the time, that's 120 seconds, right? Agar it goes like 90 seconds, then you have like certain time left. You can ask questions, and then it's on the discretion of the executive board how many questions are taken up. Also, the second thing is that if they don't have time left, then you could easily just give a chit or write it in the chat, or probably you could just send it on the WhatsApp message or WhatsApp group as advised by the executive board, and that's how you can easily write a chat out to somebody in a GSL as well, right? Any other
Okay, so
problems?
is like it's necessary to answer my question in the chat, right?
No. It's not necessary to answer. It's you have an option of answering the chat or not.
Okay.
Any other questions, delegates?
I had a question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so my question was that as the delegate of Spain said that how to write the question. I had a similar question on the same topic, that when we are framing our question and we have to ask our question and we research more about the topic in the speakers, about the speaker's
Mm-hmm.
country. For example, a delegate of a country is speaking and I have to ask a question. So normally I would think that I could research about the topic in place of in that country. For example, there's a country ABC
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
am a different delegate and I have to
Mm-hmm.
ask a question and we have a topic. So I
Okay.
will search on that topic in perspective of delegate
Mm-hmm.
ABC's country. But if I do that, it would take more time. So it would be better if I refer to the speech more than the information that I've gathered
it,
gathered
it
in
it
my
depends.
research.
So if you have research already, you can go with that, but if you don't have research already, then you can easily just refer to the speech, find some loopholes and ask them the question. So I personally, as a delegate, I'm telling you at a personal level, since it's an unmod, I do that. I look at someone's speech, and then if I have previous research lying, like, okay, fine, I know about ABC country and I know that यहाँ पे कुछ fail हो रहा है, यहाँ पे it's not working out, then I go ahead and say yes, fine, I'll question them on that. But otherwise, otherwise usually I prefer to question on a speech because it's easier and it's being said there and then. And also, like, on again on a personal level, if you can't hear the speech or something, then ask them to repeat it, and then just raise a point of question, just raise a POI if you want, like ask them to repeat it if you couldn't hear it earlier.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing, point
Yeah.
of personal privilege. Could you just tell me and tell the delegate uh, the the topic for the unmoderated caucus?
So unmoderated caucuses, it's like an informal discussion, so no need to even say point of personal
No,
privilege. So
sorry.
so yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
But in an
repeat it?
unmoderated caucus, we'll just be discussing about what are we going to speak in
what we
the
what we
next
want to
mods. We
do,
don't have
it's
to
just
speak.
basically your like a plan of action as a committee as a whole. And just to make it less chaotic, like I usually just say that you can use the raise hand option and just go one by one, so everybody gets an opportunity to speak also, and all of us can then give our opinions. So
That I
that
understand.
yeah,
That I
yeah, yeah.
understand. But I had a point of personal privilege. I don't remember the topic for the
The next topic for the mod. Okay, so the next topic for the mod, which I personally was suggesting, was effects of what is like effects of having of talking about like persons with disability, or and or like legal frameworks or loopholes, whichever one delegates you guys are more comfortable with. If you want to talk about legalities, then we can go into the legalities. If you want to talk about effects, we can go into effects. If you want to come
I
to
think effects will be a better one because then
effects,
it'll
yeah,
be like a
sure.
yeah,
Yes.
it'll be like a
So
flow of discussion because like we
Perfect.
started with the first mod and
Causes,
then
and then we
we
go
should
on
go
to
with the
effects,
effects.
right? So
Hmm.
delegates, anyone has any issue with having the next moderated caucus as effects of the current agenda at hand? I'll not keep saying disability, like we all understand now, na? Effects of the current agenda at hand. Is everybody okay with
yeah,
that?
so yeah, I agree. I don't think we should go into legalities right now.
Perfect.
And I
Okay.
mean, how what we discussed and what I even feel is that first we should complete with causes. Earlier we have done causes. Now we should move on to consequences. Now
If
consequences,
right.
we can have one mod of 20 minutes because we everyone has a lot to say
Yeah.
for 60 seconds
Perfect.
again. Uske baad there is one that examining socio-economic aspects
Yeah,
because that is
sure.
very
Like the
important.
social and the economic. Yeah,
So we can do
both.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
effects
cool.
So
first and then we can do the
Yeah,
social economic
yeah, so
aspects.
that's the
sure.
order. That is what I'm thinking. So that
Sure.
we can
So let's,
complete the
yeah,
and then tomorrow we can move into legalities because I think after this
exactly.
we have only 1.5 hour of committee session left.
Yeah. And then plus the
Exactly.
GSL speech as well.
So
Right.
GSLs will
So
be
so
there in the middle.
perfect. Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's great.
that's sorted, right? So effects, and then we go on to the social. Guys, we can also have
Socio-economic.
like one for social, and then next one for economic, because then it will use up time also, and it's like a pretty
Ten.
comprehensive one.
But then I think we should,
Yeah.
if we're dividing it, we go in for 10 minutes, not 20, because that takes a lot of time.
Right. Makes sense. So we have, so first we do right now, today we do effects or like consequences. It's the same thing, synonyms. And
Uh-huh.
then tomorrow we look at the social aspects for 10 minutes, the economic aspects for 10 minutes, and then we move on to probably another one.
The
Okay.
next mod, yeah.
Today. Why tomorrow? Tomorrow we look at
All right.
If we
Today,
have
like it
time,
is
then
just
we
the
can do it
flow. If we
today.
have time
Yeah.
today. Agar nahi, if we don't have time, then we move it to
tomorrow.
tomorrow. That's fine with
Perfect.
everyone, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so all
All right.
cool here, right?
Delegates, everybody fine with that?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Agreed. Agreed.
So
One more question. I had a thought we could also keep a dais for a topic. Maybe steps to maybe steps or ways the government
Could
included
you please come
measures.
again, delegate? You're not audible completely.
Can you reframe
delegate,
your question? I did not
could
understand
you
your
could you
question
speak it
actually.
again?
Sorry, I was thinking we could also put a motion for a dais in which all the delegates could speak on what their country has steps.
Delegate, so
Oh,
that
What
is
the
it is trying
like
to
in the
do.
motions.
GSL, right? That is like a GSL speech. So we don't want another GSL speech. You want, you can just include that again. And since it's like a pretty long committee, right? So it is just a little of us. So we can just say that we have. So
All
just
right,
2 more minutes,
delegates, you
and
will
then
have
we'll
your, yeah, you guys can talk. It's your break now from 3 to 4. So you guys must stay in the committee, you can talk. I'll be back at 4 p.m.
Sir,
all
point of
right. So
inquiry.
Yes, sir.
Sir, for a break, do we have to set a motion?
So on my discussion, you can have a break.
All right,
So you
sir.
don't have
Thank
to
you.
set a motion. All right, you guys can talk in the committee. I
Okay,
will
thank you,
stop
sir.
sharing my screen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Delegate is
Be
Japan.
back in
If
the
you
committee
want
by 4 p.m.
All right, sir.
want to
Bye,
talk
sir.
about the
Thank you.
solutions, we can make a mod for that.
Yeah. We
Talk
have a
about all
mod for that.
solutions.
And
Yeah, we
The
just
actually
third
we
already
level.
have
have
a
a mod
mod
for
for
that.
that. Just a moment. We have a mod for that already. The final documentation is required.